Okay, guys, good morning. Can everybody hear me? Good afternoon. Good. Getting ready to go to Georgia. They're ranked in the upper half of the conference in a lot of offensive categories. Nationally, they're seventh in the country in free throws made and 12th in attempts. They drive it into contact, initiate a lot of contact, and we got to do a good job of trying to defend them without fouling them. Arkansas went there last night as one of the best defensive teams in our league, and Georgia got 49 on them in the first half. More to Georgia's credit, it's a very good offensive team. Cook is the second in the conference in assists, and obviously kid that played at Gonzaga. So they've got pieces there. Aquindo didn't play against us last time, and he's their leading scorer. Bauman is a great three-point shooter, and Bridges is one of the better scoring five men in the league. So obviously you could tell by my starting off with Georgia's offense, we're going to have to focus on doing a good job against them defensively. We split with Georgia last year. It's hard to beat a good team twice, and they play much better at home. They've been successful, more successful at home, obviously, than they are on the road. Jabari Smith was nominated as one of the 10 finalists for the Karl Malone Power Forward of the Year award. He plays more of a big guard for us, but I think folks would recognize him as our second biggest player. Therefore, they call him a power forward. How we do on the road matters to me. I think historically, people have, as they would and should have recognized the jungle and the great home court advantage that Auburn enjoys, and there's no question. I think that we've got as good a home court advantage as there is in the country. Our students have been amazing, and I'm so pleased by how much they're enjoying, this team and being able to play in the jungle. At the same time, we've also got a really good road record, and not just this year, but over the last 5 years. Marlene will be putting out some numbers on that as well. So hopefully, we're going to try to add to that as our next two are on the road. Just want to take one step back and talk just briefly about the celebration against Alabama. Look, Alabama, as I said, was the second best team that I'd seen that we would have played. So it's a great compliment to them. And we celebrated so hard because it is the Iron Bowl. It is a rivalry, and the game does matter. And so it's bigger than a normal game. And so, but by celebrating and getting up on that crane stance or, getting a broom out, that adds to the rivalry. But I want it to add it to the rivalry and the passion and the joy, for our fans. And I'll just say, I told our guys, and I think I told the media even beforehand, if Alabama had upset us or came into our building and beaten us, which this year with this team would have been an upset, I would have expected them to jump on the crane and have fun, because obviously it would have been a great win for them. So don't ever want to do anything that's unsportsmanlike, but I don't mind doing things that either add to the rivalry and give our players and our students a little bit more reason to celebrate and enjoy the win with them. Questions?
All right, Coach. We can just start out with a question from Brian Matthews.
Hi, Bruce. Wanted to ask you about Allen Flanigan. Do you see him getting better, gaining more confidence in every game and every the minutes he's getting?
I do, and particularly the progress he's made defensively. Oklahoma and Alabama possessed really good guards. Lots of really good guards. And the thing I'm most encouraged about for Al is that he did a nice job out there defensively. And that's got to be his focus. And to continue, because that'll obviously help our team tremendously. And then he'll continue, just getting a little quicker, getting a little bit more explosive, getting his shot off a little faster. Those things are all starting to come for sure. Made progress. He did make progress this weekend.
Bennett Durando.
Yeah, Bruce, you mentioned Oquendo. First of all, how does that sort of affect their depth? I think they had 7 guys playing more than 10 minutes last time. And then is there anything sort of schematically that changes for them with him?
He's a great downhill scorer, and he gets to the rim. He gets fouled a lot, and he's a tough cover. So when you've got a game plan for him. So their chances of beating us here last time were reduced because they didn't have their best player or their best scorer.
Nathan King.
Hey, Bruce, I know a lot gets made of Walker's defense, but for you, what have you observed as kind of the biggest impact he makes on the offensive side of the ball, not only as a high percentage shooter, but what does that do when you've got a guy that shoots like that in the interior? What does that do for the rest of the offense?
Well, I mean, he puts a lot of pressure on the rim because he does a good job with his ball screens. He gets out of the ball screens either on a short roll or to the rim. I can pop him, and he is a threat to shoot 3-ball, and that's coming. I still have great confidence in him, as the team does, when he's open to be able to shoot it from the perimeter. But Walker's the best player I've ever had in the air. He's the best player in college basketball in the air. Defensively, obviously, protecting the rim. But offensively, making plays. You get up off your feet and there's all that contact and you're really not sure about how things are going to be when you land. You're like, look, it's not the fall. Nobody jumps off a cliff and dies on the way down. It's the landing. And he's not afraid to put himself in compromising positions, catch the ball, finish, and land. I mean, it's a rare ability. You throw it up there, he's getting it, and he's finishing it at a very high level. And he's an improved free throw shooter, from a year ago, and he's worked at it. So he puts a lot of pressure on any defensive scheme because he's so good rolling and popping and playmaking. He's a good passer, and I put the ball in his hands on the perimeter a lot to drag the big guy away from the basket and let him make plays to have assists.
Mark Murphy.
Yeah, Saturday will be
I'm going to finish. And Walker could also put the ball down the floor. He can rip it and take it to the basket. And he's 2 strides, 15 feet away from dunking it. So,
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, Saturday will be the start of the second half of your SEC schedule. Anything big picture wise that you're really pleased with this team, how it's developed, and anything in particular you'd like to see get better in the second half?
Well, we've got 5 road games and 4 home games. It's the home record in the SEC is probably stronger than I've seen in many years. Again, that's a statistic Marlene might be able to research for us, but it's been harder to win on the road this year, I think, overall, than the last couple of years. Our focus is not much different in the sense all along. You guys have heard me say, all right, we got work to do. We got to continue to get better. But are we good enough on this date to beat this team? Back in November, we weren't good enough to beat UConn. But we've been good enough on that day to beat the team that's next. I could tell you the last 2 times that we've been on the road, we've been down double digits to Missouri and to Ole Miss. So, the players are going to, hear that message loud and clear, today when we start practice about our last 2 road games.
Tom Green next.
Hey, Bruce, I wanted to follow up about Allen. I know you touched on his defense, but 10 games in back from that injury, just how much more confident is he looking out there on that repaired Achilles, and how much more comfortable is he looking in the flow of the offense?
Well, I think this weekend he made a lot of progress. I do. But I really think that if he puts too much focus or if you guys do put too much attention on his offensive numbers, it'll detract from what he really needs to do. And that's to be able to defend and rebound at a high level. Because that's where he's got some elite. The offensive stuff will come. But we need him. We need him and on the defensive end. And you know, because we're going up against great guards, defensive rebounding win championships. We're trying to win a championship. Efficiency. The other thing that having Al does, it gives me another guy I can put in ball screens, a big guard I can put in ball screens. Whereas when you got KD, Zepp, and Wendell in ball screen action as smaller guys, there are certain things that we can't do in a ball screen because of their size. Not a lot, but there's some things. With Al, there are some other things we can do from an attack standpoint. I think it just makes us hard to guard when you got another guy that you can put in a ball screen action and can be a playmaker for you. So it's really, really valuable, not just his shooting or scoring.
We get two more in the chat. We'll go to New Bias Wilborn next.
Hey, Bruce, hope you're having a good day today, man.
Hey, Tobias.
Hey, man. Two-parter here. Which of the guys between Zepp, Jabari, Jalen, and Dylan and Walker will have the most ticket requests for the game in Athens? Also,
ticket requests?
Yeah, which one of out of all those guys got the most ticket requests? And then how do you also handle just the continued notoriety that's going on with your ball club?
Yeah. By the way, I think in the league, Marley just handed this to me. The home team is 40 and 22. They won 64%. That's not quite as good as it was a week or two ago. So there might have been some road wins. But I know when the league started, the road teams were even more dominant. But still, that's what we're facing. Man, I don't look at the ticket requests. My assistants handle it. I would imagine that Walker would have lots of family that probably have been going to Stegman Coliseum for years and years, and probably have bought tickets months ago. So I bet you Walker's got a huge number, and you know the players are only allowed a certain number of comp tickets, and I'm sure they'll be they can share them amongst themselves. But of course, our kids from Georgia will have a lot of tickets. But look, for a lot of them, it's the drive to Auburn Arena isn't much further than the drive to Stegman Coliseum for those Atlanta kids. So I don't know there's going to be any more a demand there than there would be in Auburn Arena.
We're going to finish up with a question from Justin Ferguson.
Bruce, you've talked about playing on the road. You guys have had some really good road crowds this year. Probably expect another one in Athens. How much does it help your team when you are playing away from home in these kind of tough environments to have that kind of crowd behind you?
Yeah, I think our kids appreciate it. Jabari stands next to me during the anthem, and pretty much every time right before the anthem plays, whether we're at home or on the road, I think he is very much a man of routine, and I think I am too, and it's very comforting. I think when we have our routines, what we do in a pregame situation, and he almost always comments on the support about looking up at Auburn Arena and there's not an empty seat, or when we're on the road, how much he appreciates the fact that our fans have traveled. And we talk about on the road, you don't need fans, you need witnesses. And so hopefully we have plenty of witnesses on Saturday, and we won't have nearly as many in Arkansas, but obviously Georgia's a lot easier to get to, and we've got a lot of alumni in Georgia. So, but that's not gonna help us guard Georgia. We got to guard them ourselves.
Sorry, Coach, you got one more if you got time, from Joseph Goodman. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, you're the most popular guy in Auburn these days. I'm wanting to know how many requests that you've turned down to go deer hunting, and if you have like a favorite deer hunting story.
Man, I have a great deer hunting story. Because I've been coaching since I was 18 years old, probably been coaching longer than that. That was always deer hunting season. It was always skiing season. So there were certain things that it was also like going on a cruise ship season. So there's a lot of stuff I didn't do. I've been on one cruise ship. I enjoyed it. I was deer hunting a couple times, but I only deer hunted when I was between jobs at Tennessee and Auburn. I enjoyed it a lot. Just love the camaraderie, love the lodge, love the food. Obviously, I'm a fat guy, so I love the food. And I love just sitting in a stand. And I love to be outside. Don't mind being cold. I grew up in New England. And so I enjoyed deer hunting a great deal. But I took my two boys, Stephen and Michael, with me deer hunting when I was in between jobs, Auburn and Tennessee. And we went, a great friend of mine, Tim Scott, went to his camp. And man, the conditions were just perfect. One morning, it was really cold. And it had been, the circumstances where, you know, they were in the rut, and they just felt like it could be a good morning. And we had hunted for a day or two, hadn't really seen much. And all of a sudden, within 10 minutes, bam, 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 you know, all of a sudden you hear the guards started blazing. And my sons, both Michael and Stephen, got 10 pointers within about 5 minutes of each other in different parts of the property. And they were just beautiful. They were beautiful. And so we got them both. And we did the things you got to do to prepare them so you could take them and mount them, right? So put them up on the rack and slice them up a little bit and cut it up appropriately. But at the time I was driving a kind of a Toyota Avalon, and I didn't go to the hunting camp with a truck. So what do you do with them when you're leaving the campground? And so we want to put the two heads in the trunk of my car, closed it down with some rope, and the deer heads were hanging out of the car. So that's the definition of a Jewish guy going hunting, right? You throw the deer heads in the back of your Avalon. That's the best I got for you.
Auburn fans have any requests for your time?
Have there been requests for my time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but they let me. They know that 'tis the season. They know they know that we're working and we got to take care of our business. So I think they're mindful of letting me do our job, and I'm grateful to my family and my wife for letting me work and try to do the best I can for this team and our university.
But I guess this big game hunting is a little more satisfying.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It requires a lot more work and preparation. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.